and everything.
And here's the thing. Don't do that.
Why not? Okay, so you're telling me if our daughter says, hey, I find someone, his name is so-and-so and so-and-so, and he goes to such and such and such, you ain't going to start looking?
Oh, I'm going to look.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying I'm not going to look. I am going to look. I'm going to find. But in my conversation, I'm not going to let him know that I know everything. Because if there's something that I find that I don't particularly care for, I may ask questions kind of around it in that area, what have you, see how forthcoming you are. But I'm not going to let you know I know everything. Because I want to be able to, if I need to pop something on you, I'll pop it out. But you don't need to know what I know about you.
Oh, okay. So you're just keeping it in.
Yep.
Keeping it undercover. Yep. Like, I know.
Yep. All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This is Conversations with the Crawlers. We do conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite shows, and even just shows that we're watching, like season 942 of Love is Blind, because we watched the last 3 years of it, because them episodes be long. So if this is content that you enjoy, I'm just joking. This is season 4 of Love is Blind, episode 6, 7, and 8, I think it is. All right, so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, request notifications.
And share.
We'll see you in the comments. Consider becoming a member and checking out the merch store. All right, so let's just kind of run down, because we are not going to break down each episode, right?
No, we're going to kind of talk about them as couples.
Yep, because
that'll make it simple.
So we'll pick up with the cliffhanger that was from the first one, or the first 5, which was Zach meeting with Bliss in a coffee shop.
Yeah. She met him twice now. Why?
Well, yeah, because when it left off episode 5, they were just meeting, and he was like, "I messed up." So she was like, "Yeah, you kind of did." So he tells her the story of what happened with Arena, whatever her name is, and she was like, "Yeah, but I don't know, because I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know, because you made the choice. I don't know."
Well, it's been like 4 days since he was in love with Arena.
Yeah, because they had the mini trip down to wherever. Yeah,
and he come back, and now all of a sudden he in love with me. No, thank you. You missed your opportunity. Yeah. I'm not going to be second. How do you switch that off? How you switch from being in love and I'm all in, let's get married, to 4 days later, you invited me over your place and we're having dinner and you're saying now I'm the one? Don't think so.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, she goes by his place. He says when we're together, it just feels right.
I'd be like, oh, you said that to her too, didn't you?
Right. He recycling them lines. So they make dinner. He apologizes again for proposing to someone else. First of all, that just sounds trifling. My bad. I apologize to the wrong. I proposed to the wrong person. My bad.
So you don't know how to make good decisions. Because that's how I'll be like so you don't know how to make good decisions. Can I be with someone?
And remember, she did say, if you choose her, it says something about you. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
It says something about him.
It says something about him.
She ain't paying attention to what it's saying.
No.
So they do go, well, they also have this weird moment where they're dancing with no music.
Yeah.
I guess Nick couldn't get the rights to even his own catalog. He couldn't. They were like, we can't afford no music for this, so y'all just dance. But then they go on a date on a boat.
So this is third time.
Yes.
And I'm assuming now you're having conversations with him and y'all talking. Because now you're out on a third date.
Yep. He brings out a ring and homeboy proposes. I guess he thinks he got the right one this time. We'll see.
I was so mad. I was mad. I was upset that, to me in my head, that you felt it was just so easy that you could just turn around in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And propose to someone else. If I was in her shoes, I'd be like, and he got on one knee, I'd be like, no. I would like to date, if she's going to even consider it, I would like to date, see where that goes, and later on, within a year, if you want to reconsider it, ask me again.
Because, again, the whole premise is you don't see each other, you build a relationship in the pods.
That's the whole experiment.
And you propose to that person with sight unseen.
Correct.
Hence the title, Love is Blind. Right? So you don't see each other, you propose, and then you try to figure out in the next few weeks if you're going to fulfill that commitment and get married, or if you're going to go ahead and say, nah, this ain't working out.
Correct.
So homeboy already made his decision, who he thought he was in love with and being blind.
Correct.
So now, yes, he sees her, and yes, she's attractive, and now he's like, okay, let me try again. Listen.
No.
No. This ain't X on the Beach or whatever. I don't know. I'm just
making up other.
Well, there is another show called X on the Beach, but this ain't Russian roulette or marriage roulette. Just spin the wheel and see who you can find out and get married to.
Yeah, and I'd be like, first of all, I don't want to be a part of the show anymore. If you're saying that we have something now, let's discover it on our own.
Without the cameras, because I am still upset that when you had an opportunity to pick me and I'm being sincere about myself and living with this person that I saw every day, and you only got to meet in the pods, you didn't even trust me in what I was saying. But now I'm supposed to trust you and what you were saying? Nah, dude, don't work that way. Y'all remember Bliss did? She was like, look, she's a mean girl. Yeah, the whole thing with the cupcakes. Hey, all these things.
All red flags.
You're not paying attention. You going for the gaslighting. Okay.
I'll be like, no, sir. You're off the show. And then see if he really considers me when there's no show, where there's no cameras around.
Right.
Like, you have to rebuild my trust.
Yep.
And I'm just telling any young lady, if someone says, oh, I'm not into you, and then whoever they were messing with is gone, and now all of a sudden they just got this new renewed energy.
You never want to be the rebound.
For you. I would tell them, it's too late, sir. You need to move on, because I've moved on. And is it hard? Yes. Do you have feelings for people? Yes. But at the end of the day, you have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Now, if it comes back around months, years, 2 years later, there might be an opportunity later, but not in a few days.
If you propose to her on Tuesday and then you ask me out for coffee on Saturday saying that, oh, I messed up. Nah, that ain't working.
Sound like you hear more for the show than to really find love.
That's what I think. But we find out, so they do move in together.
She says yes. She says yes.
She does say yes. They move into the apartment together. We find out that he did just move to Seattle to start his own law firm.
So it sounds like you don't got no money either.
Or it's all going to go into his law firm. So, so again, the perpetual issue for them is going to be basically the comparison and the second choicery, if you will. I know that's not a word, but basically Bliss being second fiddle, if you will, to Irina, whatever her name is, throughout this, right? And so she's probably going to bring it up every now and then.
Yeah.
And
because she really didn't get over it. You almost got to go. I hate to say this, the counseling, they just met each other, but it's like, I have to give over the fact that I told you and you dismissed me.
Yep.
And then you want to turn around and say that I'm your choice and that you love me.
Yeah. Don't work. All right. So that's pretty much it for them. We'll talk about kind of everybody at the mixer a little later. Then we have Micah and Paul. Let's talk about them. So
Micah meets Paul's mother.
Well, before that even, Irina told Micah that she was into Paul.
That's right.
And Micah was like,
Right. So she confronts Paul. I remember that now. She confronts Paul like, hey, did it seem like Irina was, making a pass at you, flirting with you? And he was like, yeah, kind of felt that way.
She was a little too touchy.
And it was in front of Zach as well. So I thought Zach was going to handle his woman, but he didn't. So it was awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, well, I was kind of looking at you side-eye. Because you knowing this, you're not sharing it with me.
Right.
Or you're not really handling it thinking someone else is going to take care of it.
Yeah. Fellas, handle it yourself.
Or tell, if you know who they're dating, like, hey, Zach,
yeah,
you need to come get your girl.
Right. Zach, your girl needs a hand to hold. Hey, Zach, look.
She need a knee to touch.
Something.
She don't need to be touching my knee.
Nope. Move along. Move. Get out the way. So yeah, but he does say, Paul does say that his physical connection with Micah is great. So
yes,
they're progressing. Now his mom comes to visit from New Orleans, from Nolens, and the mom cyberstalked Micah.
No, she was checking her facts. She was like, I want to know who my son's gonna be married.
That's what I mean. She cyberstalked her. She was like, look, she went bloodhound. What was it? The bloodhound gang.
Yeah.
She was like, I think this is her Instagram. Yep, that's it. This is her TikTok.
And she does say, I'm a paralegal. So when we need to find things on people for legal reasons, we find it. Girl, you don't got no record. You good. You haven't been in jail. You can marry my son.
Yeah. So the conversation, the mom seems to be okay with it.
Yeah, she's like, she wanted her son to find someone, and she's very comfortable, obviously, because she's already went through all of her social media.
Right.
So she didn't see anything that would alarm her.
Right.
That's what they do now.
You ain't got three other engagements that you've had.
Right. You ain't just out there, dressing any kind of way on the gram.
Right.
So she's like, yeah, your mom look real wholesome. Christian woman, ain't she? Works at a daycare, doesn't she? Owns a daycare. I was like, she was going down everybody's career and everything.
And here's the thing. Don't do that.
Why not? Okay, so you're telling me if our daughter says, hey, I find someone, his name is so-and-so and so-and-so, and he goes to such and such and such, you ain't going to start looking?
Oh, I'm going to look.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying I'm not going to look. I am going to look. I'm going to find. But in my conversation, I'm not going to let him know that I know everything. Because if there's something that I find that I don't particularly care for, I may ask questions kind of around it in that area, what have you, see how forthcoming you are. But I'm not going to let you know I know everything. Because I want to be able to, if I need to pop something on you, I'll pop it out. But you don't need to know what I know about you.
Oh, okay. So you're just keeping it in.
Yep.
Keeping it undercover. Yep. Like, I know.
Yep. And then that way, if I need to pop up somewhere.
If you need to pop up.
If I need to pop up at a place that you visit. Oh, hey. I didn't know you came here.
You come here frequently.
Yeah. See, that's how I do it.
Okay, because I'm about to say,
I
know you're going to find.
I'm going to find out.
Everything.
I don't know who your third grade teacher was. I'll get the information, but I don't have to let you know that I got the information. That's how you do that.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So they do go to his place.
Yes.
Check out his apartment. And his apartment is furnished in 1983 poor college student. Decor.
Oh yeah, it's Goodwill vibes on another level. On the low level.
What's below Goodwill? It's
vintage.
It's somebody got put out on the curb.
Swap meet.
It's somebody
he did say he found out one of those on the curb.
Right. It's like the free section of Craigslist.
Free section.
That's the decor that he has, because he got dead plants all over the place too.
All the guys go into they decide to get a plant, which somebody must have gave them the plant, because they are definitely not taking care of these plants.
Just water it every now and then, let it get some sunlight.
Okay, they'll come back. They're killing it.
Because our daughter had a plant that she at least kept alive for a little while.
Yeah, she got several now. That's pretty thriving.
Yep.
So, and Micah's like, I gotta redecorate. If we have to live here, I would totally have to redecorate.
And the other thing that was a little concerning, he got pocket knives all over the place.
Yes, he has a knife like in every room. Like, he's prepared. If someone comes in, he's gonna stab somebody. Somebody's gonna get stabbed.
So I know you don't watch The Office.
No.
Like I do. Like I've watched The Office is my go-to show. I watch The Office like all the time. But Dwight, for my Office heads, Dwight, y'all remember where Dwight like was pulling like throwing stars and nunchucks and stuff from all over the place? That's how he was living. He had like knives behind the mattress. He had knives under the lamp. He had knives all over the place.
There was knives everywhere. So while they're there in his apartment, they start talking about where they're going to live. She has a place, I guess, somewhere in Arizona.
Somewhere here, yep.
And Washington. And he's not feeling living outside of Washington.
Right.
So, excuse me. Pardon me. So we're at this place where it's like, how you propose to someone, you gotta talk about.
That's the thing, because they're not
location.
the only couple that is facing a location issue. And if you remember last season, who was it? SK and Raven, I think it was.
They had a
little thing where he was going to be going away
to
grad school. And so it was like, how they going to work that out? So it's like, y'all don't have these conversations, all these deep conversations you have in the pod. Y'all don't have these conversations, because to me, that would be something that would be that would be something that would come up and be like, hey, if I want to live here and you want to live there, maybe I don't propose to you because we don't want to live in the same city.
Right, and we can't come to an agreement.
So let me move around to somebody who wants to live in the city I live in.
Or guess what?
Or move along, period.
Don't get picked.
So, yeah.
So that was alarming. They both looking at each other like, what are we going to do about this? Later on, Micah and Paul goes to a bar to meet her friends.
Right. Well, no, before that, they meet his family.
Oh, her family. Because we already talked about...
her family, right. They meet her parents, right? And Micah does all the talking.
Right. So they were like... So she's talking, she's explaining or trying to explain the experiment and everything. She really didn't share much. And then she goes, you like him? And they were like, well, we got the same name as your father. I guess we're going to like him.
Because we ain't really heard from him yet. He ain't said nothing.
He ain't said nothing for us to decide.
You doing all the talking.
Right.
You monologuing right now.
So it's just like, are you going to allow him or your family to ask him any type of questions?
Right.
Because y'all talking about getting married in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep.
So obviously they're pretty stunned. You know, they're like, they want to trust their daughter, but at the same time, they feel like Paul's a nice guy. He looks like a nice guy.
He don't look like a serial killer, even though he got knives all over the place.
That's what Micah's dad says. So, you know, they're like, hey, we're going
It's a we'll see. We'll go with it, right?
Right.
So I don't expect them to be like up in arms or, you know, completely just like, oh yeah, this is great, this is phenomenal.
Right.
But the fact that they're not disapproving.
Right. They're just unsure because all of this is being piled on them at one time.
This is all new, right? So then, yes, they do go to one of Micah's friends. Is having a birthday party. They go to a bar, what have you.
Yeah. And they're there and, you know, Paul's trying to, you know, interact with them and talk. And Micah's friend says, are you going to be talking polite and have manners all night? Pretty much. I'm just summing up.
Yeah.
It was just like, what?
So you want me to talk?
Like, how is he supposed to talk? Like,
yeah.
I was really confused. And
because one of the friends is like, oh, she likes him, he's good, whatever. But the other friend was like, no, you're Micah. You're supposed to have an awesome wedding. You're supposed to just find the person of your dreams. This isn't it. You're supposed... Stop gassing your friend up.
Yeah.
Micah's she's a basic young lady. I'm not saying she's unattractive, but she's not like stunning in my opinion.
I think Micah found someone that is just not going to be... I felt like she was looking for someone that was going to have some intelligence, maturity about them, because she wants to be in a long-term relationship than someone who's just out to have fun.
Right, or for a good time.
And for a good time. So I understand where Micah's perspective is like, I finally met someone
that has some substance.
And I like him.
Yep.
And she's really kind of like taken back that her friend is saying all these things about him, where she thought maybe she's joking,
Right.
or just kind of trying to be funny. And she's like, "Are you serious?"
And she's like, no, this isn't. No, you're awesome, Micah. Okay.
Well, doesn't her being awesome deserve somebody that is awesome? You want somebody who's going to make have a great career and make good money so that could take care of her,
right?
And any type of family she's going to have. That would be my thoughts.
Right. Watch out for friends that gas you up too much. All right. So that was pretty much it for them.
Yeah.
Let's do Kwame and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
So Kwame and Chelsea, they meet with her dad, and he seems to be cool with it.
Oh yeah, he's like, I'm all on board. Cool. I'm glad that you felt like you found somebody, and he's just kind of talking to them and trying to help them to navigate getting married.
Right. And then, so as far as them, their issue is, one of their issues, he's in Portland, she's in Seattle.
Yeah. And again, she really feels that she wants to stay near her family. And what she feels, obviously, if they have children or whatever, kind of help take care of that. Because it almost feels like Kwame doesn't have any family like in the States, maybe, or not near him.
Yeah.
And so he kind of gives in and says, yes.
Right.
We'll stay in Seattle.
But he also is like, I don't want to feel like I'm compromised, I'm giving in or what have you. It's like, this is a compromise, what have you. Or this is a sacrifice for him, right? They go to his apartment.
His apartment looks just like a 16-year-old boy's room.
Yeah.
It's just clothes everywhere. And then he has a bed, but he doesn't sleep in the bed. He sleeps on
the couch. And he's got lotion and napkin, towels.
He just got everything everywhere.
So, yeah. So, and then he's got the dead plants as well. He's just, his refrigerator's empty. It's just like, dude.
Yeah, he just lives there.
Now, one interesting thing that we saw, and you may have seen this floating around the internet, George Bush's internet, but Kwame was spotted in an old clip of Married at First Sight season 10, where it looks like he was trying to get on Married at First Sight. They didn't choose him, of course, but Kwame been looking for love in all the wrong places for a long time. So yeah, he calls his mother because he hasn't had a chance to talk to his mom, and his mom is not on board. Now, you don't hear his mom because, and I think a lot of it has to do with the mom was like, I don't even want my voice on this show.
She wouldn't give any type of consent.
Yeah.
So he's speaking to her, and you only hear his side of the conversation, but you can kind of pretty much, based off of what he's saying to her, responding to her, that she feels disrespected, that, all of a sudden, all this is happening fast, whatever, and she don't want to be a part of it. Now, as a parent, granted, I would love to meet the person. I would love to be able to give my adult child input, to kind of help them navigate those decisions and help them maybe not be overwhelmed or make decisions that could change the course of their life or hold them back. But at the end of the day,
it's her decision.
They're grown.
It's our kid's decision.
They're grown. And so maybe it might not be the way I would want it to be done. And I can voice that in a way that shows them or to take it in consideration that I love them and I want them to have as much information so that they can make those decisions. Right. But now I'm not going to say that you're ruining my life. No. And because you're doing this and you're disrespecting me. They're really not disrespecting me. They may not be considering me, but I'm not being disrespected, So I think there's a fine line in trying to navigate this kind of...
If I do my deep dive and I find out some information, you better believe I'm letting my child know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm letting my child know. I'm not going to have a conversation with him or her, whoever the person is, but I'm going to let my child know.
Yeah, like, hey, if I found all this stuff that is very negative, which could bring down you or
Did
financially.
you know he got a
ruining
restraining
you.
order? Did you know?
Right.
Did you know?
Right. So, and then if you still decide to make those decisions,
That's on you.
That's you. But guess what? We're still here. We love you.
You still know my number.
If we need to do whatever we need to do.
If I need to get to you, I'll get to you. And if I need to get to him, I'll get to him.
We do what we need to do. So, and I think that's important as a parent, because when they need you the most, if you're at odds and they feel like they have no place to go,
then that's a bridge you've almost burned.
Yeah.
So.
And they might not help them in their situation, because then if they feel like, well, if I try to reach out to them, they're not going to help me, or I feel embarrassed or whatever, it might put them in a worse situation.
Yep. So
they also talk about parenting, because she does have a puppy or a dog, and they take the dog to get washed and everything. And so Chelsea wants to talk about family and having kids. She's like, I can pop out 6. Call me like 6 what? Are we making a soccer team? And she was like, I can homeschool them. Like, we can figure this out. He's like, I'm trying to still travel the world.
Right.
And you trying to be the Brady Bunch.
And again, 6 because they're in their 30s?
Yes.
So 6 in your 30s is a lot different than 6 at your 20s, right? If because we talked about having 3 max when we were in our 20s, right? I hit 30. We had our second one. I was
still in my late 20s.
Right, but I was like, I'm done. We're good. We don't need a third one.
Because if you weren't going to help him and assist, it didn't make sense to have another child.
So, yeah.
So
that number can change.
It sure can. And obviously, you're excited or whatever.
Right.
So you might start out with 6. But again, it's a compromise. But at the same time, he's like, well, I mean, if you can't travel in the first 3 or 4 years of your marriage, because they talked about when they were going to start a family, then to me, it's more of an excuse.
Right.
And so she's like, are you questioning about getting married? Do you still want to get married? So she's asking all the right questions, but he's just not speaking up how he's feeling.
No. But he also does, again, talk about the sacrifice of him moving. And like he's giving up his autonomy, if you will, or giving up. He's kind of caving in is what he kind of makes it seem like. He doesn't want to feel like he's caving in by him making that move. So. And
he's like, my friends are there. I feel comfortable. I have my own trail. So he has his normal life, pretty much is what he's saying. And now he will have to get new friends and finding all these new things.
He can't go play soccer all the time at the place he goes play soccer.
Right.
So let's deal with Tiffany and Brett.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of scenes with them in.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tiffany goes over to Brett's place. And take a look see herself move into his spot.
Yes.
And it was just small because, again, when you live by yourself, you're not going to buy anything oversized if you don't need the space.
But she does start calling him Bougie Brett.
Yes.
Because he's got a lot of technology there. He's got a lot of, nice gear, what have you.
Nice thing.
He's got his shoe wall of his collection of stuff that maybe he's designed, or if you work for Nike and you can get the hookup, I'm going to have the shoe boxes hooked up, right? And before that, they did kind of meet with her friends, and she was good with that, right? And her friends were good with him. But yeah, so she starts to, she even asked him about one of the things, she's like, what's the most expensive thing that you bought? And he's like, $1,200 carry-on case.
He says, it's good quality though. It's like, she's like, I hope so, for $1,200.
Because they also are talking about bills and talking about how they're going to split that up and what have you. And I looked up, because again, you have to think about, what does he do?
Right.
So he's a director for Nike.
And I told her, I was like, okay, he has to be making at least 6 figures. So he could probably afford $1,200 luggage.
Right.
Something that's a long-term piece. It's not something he's thrown away in a month or so, So I think, while it could be cute now, you call him bougie. But I think you need...
keep that going.
I think you need to, at some point, kind of let it go.
Yep.
you know, it might be cute and you laugh, ha. But the question comes in like, are you a little insecure by what you make? Mm-hmm. Or how you were raised? Because I think sometimes it's just about having those conversations about money.
Yes.
And how we think about money. Because she was like, you know, how should we split up the bills or pay for the mortgage and everything? And he's like, I'm cool with paying for the majority of it and everything. So, and she was saying that she didn't have a lot of big bills, if I understood her correctly. But I think it's just about having that good conversation about, hey, this is where I came from. This is what money looked like to me. And he may have came from the same way, but look at money a little bit different. Than he's like, hey, I do make this amount of money, so I know how to splurge and what to put to what. I have this amount of savings, investments. And I think that would make her feel more comfortable, you know, about money.
But the fact that they're having the conversation is it's applauded, right?
It's a good
sign. Be applauded because, one, that's a sign that they're planning on moving forward together. But then also, those are the conversations, the things that you need to have a conversation about, so that on the other side of marriage, on the other side of your wedding, you know, or have an expectation of how this is going to work. Are we going to get joint accounts? Or are we going to keep separate accounts? Are you going to take care of the mortgage? I take care of the cell phones, whatever it might be, right?
Right. And you know, they're talking about the wedding and still have to get things planned and stuff. And she's like, you're not nervous? You're not like, you know, going crazy? And he's like, no, I know what I want. I want to be with you. He's like, we'll figure it out. Let's just do one thing at a time. We have this. And I think he's just keeping her calm at the same time.
Yeah. Again, I like them as a couple.
Oh, I do. I think they're a great match. Yeah. They have similar interests. You can hear when they talk to each other. So I think as they work through different things, now the question comes when they do have their hiccup and being able to how do they argue and fight and different things like that.
Because I don't think they've really had an argument or fight at this time.
Or disagreement.
So it is a question of how will that be handled.
Yeah.
Or at least we haven't seen any. Not saying that they haven't had any, but what we've seen or what has been presented, we haven't seen anything really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're good. They're just figuring out cakes and dresses and all that stuff. So, Jackie and Marshall.
Yeah.
So when we get back with Jackie and Marshall, his family is coming over, and she starts stressing out.
Yeah, it sounded like she was having an anxiety attack.
Yes.
You know, she felt like started to feel a lot of being overwhelmed. And she's like, I just kind of need to move and get my space. So she leaves from the kitchen to like, I guess, a living room area. And when she says she needs her space, he seems to be following her.
Right.
You know, he's like, hey, do you need anything? He's like, you know, I think if you're okay, I'm not going to stay in your space. I'm going to move on. And she kind of starts talking about the feeling of meeting his family. And
then also the fact that her family's not 100% behind it.
Correct.
Right. So his family comes to visit. And one thing that Marshall is like, he was like, he knew it was her from the beginning, is what he said. Right. And that, and then it just as far as the family dynamic helped to, in my opinion, ease her anxiety a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because she started to get there and open up a little more, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we just have it in our head, will they like us? Will they judge us? You know, the whole situation. And I think once she could remove that and see that they just wanted to get to know her and you know, see Marshall, I think it helped a lot.
Yes. So that was the end of that portion. We were good then, right?
Yeah.
He kind of helped her get over her anxiety.
Yeah.
Next time we see Marshall like, yo, we had a little conversation.
Right.
And she said, I need to boss up. I need to man up.
Right. That he wasn't a man.
So he was like, before I said something I was going to regret, I left. I walked away, but he's coming back. And when he comes back, she's starting to pack. And they start to get into it. And she basically is like, first, she's saying that they don't have sex. She wants him to be more aggressive.
And he's like, hold on, you're having these panic attacks and you have this anxiety, like barely want me, you know, I'm trying to touch you. I'm trying to show I'm interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do.
Right.
I'm not that type of dude.
Right.
I'm not a toxic dude.
Right. But then as they're talking, he's like, he starts clapping at her, right? And she's like, don't do that. Don't talk. He's like, whoa. You want me to be aggressive. I'm testing you. I'm being aggressive right now, but you don't want me to be aggressive. So make up your mind. Do you want me to be aggressive? Because if this is what you want as far as aggression, then this is what I'm going to give you. But this isn't what I normally do. This isn't how I operate. But you said you want me to man up and be aggressive. So maybe this is how you want to be talked to. This is the toxic love that you're used to and the toxic love that you want to be handled with.
Yeah, I'm finding that for Jackie, she might really want to see talking to someone and realize that a good relationship doesn't have to have the drama.
Right.
It doesn't have to have the fights. And then you have this big fight and then you make up with sex and everything that comes along with that. Where Marshall is trying to approach that, hey, we're two mature adults.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about our feelings. You know, because he's like, pretty much, I'm doing everything.
Yeah, he's like, I do the touching, I do the rubbing, I do it all.
You're not reciprocating.
Right. What manhood are you missing from me trying to at least touch or what have you? Then he drops the bomb on her.
Yeah, because she's kind of coming back at him.
She is. He was like, you a project. I chose you as a project.
I said, oh, Lord.
It's like, dude, Marshall.
I was like,
Marshall.
Ooh, he jabbing. And she said, what?
I'm a project to you?
Oh, so that's what I
like
am?
I'm a lab experiment?
I'm a project?
Like you got your little chemistry set together and trying to see what you can do? I'm your little, what is it, the model car you trying to put together? What? I'm your project. I'm your science project, your art project. What kind of project
you
am I?
better start cleaning that up.
So Marshall did. He at least started to clean it up.
Yeah, I think Marshall is that knight in shining armor that wants to save the damsel in distress. And I think he also needs to come to the point where you can't save everybody.
No.
The person that you're going to be with has to be at a place mentally, spiritually, physically, to be able to have a good, loving and caring relationship.
Right.
And wanting to save someone from their thoughts or their weaknesses,
their anxieties, their past,
right, is not the way to go.
Yeah. And we find out she has never been in a real relationship.
Yeah.
So he's like, I see the potential in you, right? So when he said project, he was really trying to say, I see the potential in you. Because, him saying that she was a project, that was a dagger.
Yeah,
that was a low blow.
That was a low blow.
But he does clean it up. He does say he sees unlimited potential in her.
Right, and we should, because none of us is perfect. So I get what he's saying. None of us is perfect. We all have to work through what we've been through, our experiences. But at the same time, that person has to be willing to see, first of all, their own self-awareness of where they are and need to work on.
Yeah. So what we also see, and this is where Love is Blind gets messy. Now, they were messy already by allowing Zach to propose to Bliss. I think that's just messy, right? But the birthday party for Chelsea, it was like, let's invite all the mess that we can and bring them to this one.
Yep.
So Bliss and Zach show up. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, yes, okay,
Bliss,
awesome,
you're
cool.
Here. What?
You made it. He chose you.
He proposed you the second time? Ooh.
The second time around. All right. Then Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is there.
Who was interested in Jackie.
Yes, and he's there early enough that he can get all the drinks in that he needs to get in, because that'll come into play a little later.
Because he needs the liquid courage to be there.
Marshall and Jackie arrive separately. And there is, when Jackie does arrive, she's got on a nice outfit, what have you.
Yeah, she got a jumper on.
Right. But Marshall's like, hey, put this coat on. I don't need you to catch a cold.
I don't want you sharing your goodies.
She's like, it won't mess up my outfit. He's like, look here, girl. I'm being aggressive. Put my coat on. Don't.
I'm being
put the coat on. I'm manning up. Put my coat on. Men put their coat around their women. Put the coat on.
I was like, dude, it's not like she's in a two-piece swimsuit. It's okay. Calm down.
Micah and Bliss have a conversation. They're talking about Arena and how things went down. And Bliss is like, I'm so surprised. I am so amazed. Did that really happen? That's not like her. Wow.
She did not say that. She pretty much told her, Micah, you were her only friend.
Yeah.
And so for the one we thought she wasn't going to betray, she does betray.
Yeah. So how could you betray the one person who had your back?
Who had your back the whole time in there.
So
and Amber, because we don't mention her because we don't see her talking to anyone, but Amber was Paul's also interest between her and Micah.
Right. The one that she stole him away from.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Marshall talking with Brett says that, I rock with her, but Jackie hasn't told me that she loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of gives a rundown again about the whole issue of, manning up, what have you. So Marshall really, I think, cares for her, but he's starting to be like, hey, we weeks away. This is right around the corner. We need to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh starting to get a little liquid courage, and he does say that he's good at stirring up the pot.
Yep, and he tells Marshall this. He's like, I'm here to steal your woman.
Well, first of all, he's like, Marshall stole her. So he's like, he has this whole thing where he's talking to other people, and he's like, should I allow Marshall's feelings to take precedent over my own? Should I put his feelings ahead of mine? Because in some way, we were cool in the pods, so therefore I kind of backed off because.
Okay. Sure you did.
So, Josh is drunk.
He ain't drunk.
And he comes over and kind of breaks up the conversation with Jackie that she was having with Micah and, was it Tiffany? I think that's who she was.
Yeah, I think it was.
So he kind of breaks that up. He calls Marshall NBA cryboy. Because, we got to talk about when he was talking with Marshall. Because he was talking with Marshall. And he was like, buddy with Marshall. And Marshall was like,
what?
Joker, who are you?
World?
What in the world? He's looking at the camera like, y'all did see this, right? What happened here? So essentially, Josh is trying to make it seem like, you knew I loved you.
I had feelings. I was just...
I loved you with an everlasting love.
Like, boy. So, and come back to the conversation.
Because even Jackie was like, dude, we ain't even talking emotions in there.
He's like, you never went deeper than shallow water.
Yeah. So that's where kind of it leaves off with them, with everyone really, for that episode. It does look like in the previews that Josh does have a coffee date, if you will, with Jackie. I don't think anything comes out of it. I just don't think. I think that she recognizes him for who he is.
Well, and she states Marshall is what she needs.
Yes. And Josh is probably what she's had.
What she had.
So it'll be interesting. Now, I just saw the reunion special is going to be done live. So we'll have to figure out how we do that. I know we have something else going on that day. We'll see. But yeah, we'll figure that out. But look, that's it. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know kind of what we might have missed and who you're rooting for of these couples. We'll see you all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.